plants aren't always quiet, green, and predictable. Some hunt, some deceive, some explode, and some look like they shouldn't even be alive. Today, we're stepping into the strangest corners of the botanical world to explore plants that bend the rules of nature and redefine what a plant can be. The plant kingdom is full of surprises, and today we're counting down 15 of the weirdest plants on Earth. Let's start with number 15. The Cape sundew. The Cape sundew, it's a carnivorous plant that's native to the Cape region of South Africa, and it's got an unusual method of capturing and digesting insects, something it's needed to develop to be able to thrive in the nutrient-poor soil of its habitat. Growing in the fynbos biome of South Africa, where there's a Mediterranean climate with wet winters and dry summers, you'll usually find them in sandy or peaty soils in open, sunny areas. They're recognizable by its long, narrow leaves that are covered in glandular hairs. It's these hairs that are crucial to their ability to trap insects. As they secrete a sticky substance all along themselves, once an insect lands on them, they become stuck, and the leaf then begins to slowly curl around it. While this happens, the insect is coated with digestive enzymes that release essential nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, which the plant is also able to absorb. It's this method of feeding is what allows the Cape sundew to thrive in places that are low in those nutrients and gives them a significant advantage over other plants in the regions. During the summer months, the plant will flower too and produce delicate pink or white flowers on tall, slender stalks. These rise well above the sticky traps to avoid capturing any potential pollinators because as well as relying on insects for nutrition, they also need them to procreate, and for this to happen, they definitely don't want them to become stuck. Number 14. The black bat flower. The black bat flower is a surprising plant that's native to the tropical regions of Southeast Asia, including Thailand, Malaysia, and southern China, and it's a perennial species that develops flowers that look just like a bat in flight. In its natural habitat, the plant thrives in the undergrowth of tropical rainforests, where it benefits from the warm conditions and scattered sunlight that filter through the canopy. It prefers rich, well-drained soils that are high in organic matter, which is exactly what it gets on the forest floor, where decaying plant material provides plenty of nutrients. The flowers, once they develop, are dark purple to black and have long, whisker-like growths that can extend up to 28 inches or about 71 centimeters, giving the appearance of a bat's wings and whiskers. This unusual appearance isn't just for show, it plays a role in the plant's ability to reproduce. The dark color and shape of the flowers attract pollinators that are active in low-light conditions, such as certain species of flies and beetles. Their ability to thrive in the shaded parts of tropical forests has been crucial for its survival, and in the competitive ecosystems of Southeast Asian rainforests, there are so many plants competing for light, it can be a limiting factor for plant growth. The black bat flower's large, dark green leaves therefore have developed to capture and use limited light that penetrates the forest canopy, that provide enough energy for the plant to develop, and are some of the most unique flowers of any plant species. Number 13. The cobra lily. Now, despite its name, the cobra lily isn't technically a species of lily, and instead, its alternative name is more accurate, the California pitcher plant. Found in the nutrient-poor bogs of Northern California and Southern Oregon in the United States, it's a carnivorous species that takes on quite an unusual appearance. As is common with plants that have developed ways to capture prey, cobra lilies thrive in environments where other plants struggle, mainly in soils or acidic bogs that are low in essential nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus. These soils are normally found in places with a constant flow of cold, low-oxygen water, and the cobra lily has evolved to take advantage of these harsh conditions by developing a specialized way of obtaining nutrients. Identifiable by its tubular leaves, which resemble a cobra with an inflated hood, complete with a fork-leaf tip that mimics a snake's tongue, this shape is central to the plant's way of feeding. The leaves are actually hollow and filled with water, which creates a trap for unsuspecting insects. This species doesn't rely on sticky substances or fast movements to capture prey, it instead uses a complex system of lures and traps. The interior of the cobra lily's leaves is lined with downward-pointing hairs and slippery surfaces that prevent insects from escaping once they've entered. The plant lures the insects into its trap with a combination of nectar and visual cues, and once inside, the insect becomes disoriented by the translucent patches on the leaves, which look like exits but lead deeper into the trap. Eventually, The insect falls into the digestive fluid at the base of the leaf, and from there's no way back. They are then broken down by bacteria and other microorganisms, and the plant is then able to absorb the nutrients that are released. Blooming in late spring to early summer, cobra lilies develop tall flower stalks topped with yellow-greenish flowers. These flowers grow much higher than the foliage, which is something that's common in carnivorous plants because it ensures that the insects that have been attracted as pollinators don't then fall victim to the traps. Number 12. Carrion plant. The carrion plant, which is also known as the starfish flower, is a species of succulent that can be found in the arid regions of southern Africa, including Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa. It thrives in dry, rocky habitats and has developed drought-resistant adaptations to be able to do so. It typically grows in well-drained sandy soils and can often be found in the open, sunny areas or shaded by rocks and sparse vegetation. The plant's succulent nature allows it to store water in its thick, fleshy stems, which helps it to survive the harsh conditions of its environment. The most impressive thing about the carrion plant, though, is its flower, which can reach up to 16 inches or 40 centimeters in diameter. Its shape is very similar to that of a starfish, with 5 points that are covered in fine hairs and often marked with patterns. The most obvious thing about the flower that you'll notice in real life, though, is not the way that it looks but the awful smell that it releases, which is similar to that of rotting flesh. There is good reason for this, of course, because the primary pollinators of the carrion plant are flies. The flower's scent combined with its hairy texture and coloration mimic the appearance and smell of meat so that flies, mistaking the flower for a potential food source or breeding ground, land on it to transfer pollen from one flower to another. These flowers bloom mainly in the late summer to early autumn, which is when flies are most active, and despite its deceitful way of pollinating, the plant is harmless to its visitors. The flies, though, receive no benefit from the encounter as the flower provides no nutrition to them, but the plant successfully ensures the transfer of its pollen. Number 11. Saguaro cactus. The saguaro cactus is one of the most famous types of cactus, and it almost seems as an unofficial icon of the American Southwest, particularly the Sonoran Desert. It's native to the region and found across Arizona, California, and the Mexican state of Sonoran. This is a place that experiences extreme temperatures, intense sunlight, and very little rainfall, which creates a challenging environment for plant life, and for any chance to survive, species have to develop various characteristics to overcome difficulties. Saguaro cactuses have adapted so well, though, that they can grow surprisingly big. Heights of over 40 feet or 12 meters are common, and they can live for 150 to 200 years. The cactus has a shape with a central column and then branches or arms that usually begin to grow when the cactus is about 50 to 70 years old, and are what give the saguaro its distinctive form. Interestingly, though, they don't actually retain the same shape all the time, and it's because of this that it's one of the most effective adaptations in the desert. Its thick, waxy skin reduces water loss, and its ribbed structure allows the cactus to massively expand and contract, which allows it to store large amounts of water during the rare times that it actually rains. A mature saguaro can absorb and hold up to 200 gallons or 910 liters of water during a single rainstorm. This water is then slowly used during the long, dry periods, sustaining the cactus through the harsh conditions, and it will slowly shrink during this time. The success of the saguaro cactus has led to it becoming a vital player in the desert ecosystem, as well as providing shelter for a number of species, such as the Gila woodpecker, which creates nesting cavities in the cactus's flesh. Its flowers, which bloom in late spring and early summer, provide nectar for a variety of species, including bees, bats, and birds. Later in the year, in the summer, its fruit will ripen, and this becomes a much-needed food source for many animals, including birds, mammals, and insects that themselves struggle to survive in the desert environment. Number 10. Grandadier's baobab. Grandadier's baobab is a truly unusual tree that's native to Madagascar, and it's named after the French botanist Alfred Grandadiers, who'd studied plant life on the island in the 19th century. This baobab is recognized by its massive trunk and unique bottle-like shape, which makes it a standout feature in arid regions where it grows. They're usually found in dry, deciduous forests and scrublands of western Madagascar, particularly around the coastline and along the banks of rivers and lakes. These trees have adapted to thrive in environments with long dry seasons and little rainfall, and to do so have developed enormous cylindrical trunks which can reach diameters of up to 33 feet or 10 meters and heights over 98 feet or 30 meters. This trunk serves as a water storage reservoir, allowing the tree to endure long periods of drought by storing thousands of gallons of water in its spongy wood, and will swell or shrink depending on how much water is currently being stored. The bark of the tree is smooth and gray with a reddish tint, and it regenerates easily even after being stripped. The branches which emerge near the top of the trunk create a canopy that resembles the roots of an upturned tree, giving it the nickname upside-down tree, and have large white flowers that bloom at night and are pollinated by nocturnal animals such as bats and moths. The flowers are followed by elongated oval-shaped fruits known as monkey bread, which contain a nutritious pulp and a number of seeds. These baobabs are vitally important to the local ecosystem here and the lives of the Malagasy people. The tree provides food, water, and shelter for a variety of wildlife, and the fruits are rich in vitamin C and other nutrients, making them an important food source for both animals and humans. Additionally, the seeds, leaves, and bark have medicinal properties, and they're used in traditional remedies, and while the wood of the baobab is too spongy to be turned into timber, it is used to make items like rope and cloth. Number 9. Dalzai. Found in the deciduous forests of eastern North America, the dalzai is a strange-looking plant that's also called the white baneberry. If you ever come across this one, though, it's probably best to keep your distance, because while you may be tempted to pick the fruit, you might end up regretting it. Thriving in the shady undergrowth of the rich, moist forests, often alongside other native species like ferns and woodland wildflowers, they prefer well-drained soils and will usually be found in areas with scattered sunlight. The plant typically reaches a height of about 24 to 36 inches, or about 60 to 90 centimeters, and produces leaves with serrated edges. These leaves are a vibrant green and give the plant a lush appearance in the spring and summer. It's in late spring that the plants develop small, white flowers clustered on a thick, upright stem, and then, by midsummer, the flowers give way to the berries that they are most famous for. They are white, with a prominent black dot, and look just like the pupils of eyes, which are then held on thick, red stems and can be quite strange to find as you're walking through a forest. These berries, though, are highly toxic. They contain cardiogenic toxins that can make you quite ill if you eat or even touch them. It's not just the berries that contain the toxins, either. They're also present in the leaves and roots, meaning only those who are familiar with the plant should get close to them. Despite the toxicity to humans, though, the dalzai isn't dangerous to every animal, and the fruits are eaten by various species of birds, which are not affected by the toxins. This helps to disperse the seeds and helps spread the plant in its natural habitat. Dalzais have also been historically important to various native cultures, where it was used medicinally in extremely small, carefully controlled doses, despite its toxicity. These uses are highly specialized, of course, and should not be attempted without extensive knowledge and expertise. Number 8. Parachute flower. The parachute flower is an unusual-looking species that can be found across the subtropical regions of South Africa, the Kingdom of Eswatini, and Mozambique. It thrives in rocky, well-drained soils within its habitat, often growing in open woodlands and scrublands where it can climb over rocks and shrubs. It prefers environments with bright, indirect light and benefits from the occasional shade, and as a type of perennial vine, it can reach lengths of up to 10 feet or about 3 meters, using its twinning stems to climb and spread. The thing from which it gets its name is its elaborate blossoms. Each flower is composed of 5 petals that are fused at the tips and form a cage-like structure. The flowers are normally pale green to white, with patterns and textures that increase their delicate parachute-like appearance. This is more than just a visually appealing design, though, it's also a sophisticated trap for pollinating insects. The flower emits a scent that attracts small flies, which are drawn to the flower's promise of food or breeding grounds. Once a fly enters the flower, it is temporarily captured within the cage structure by a series of downward-pointing hairs that prevent its escape. During this time, the fly collects and transfers pollen, and after a few hours, the hairs wither, which allows the fly to escape and hopefully go on to pollinate another flower. This plant does require very little care, as long as it has well-drained soil and is protected from frost, with regular watering during the growing season and reduced watering during the winter to help maintain its health. Number 7. Welwitschia mirabilis. Welwitschia mirabilis is one of the most extraordinary plants on Earth, and it's an ancient plant that's endemic to the Namib Desert, along the coast of Namibia and Angola in southwestern Africa. It does have an unusual appearance, and it's extremely resilient in one of the harshest environments on the planet, and as a result, it's become a subject of significant scientific interest. It's a type of gymnosperm, which is the plant group that includes conifers, but it looks very different from its relatives. The plant consists of only 2 leaves, a stem base, and roots, and these 2 leaves continue to grow throughout the plant's life, often becoming tattered and split into ribbons by the desert wind. Maybe the most surprising thing about it, however, is just how long it can live. Individual plants can survive for over 1,000 years, with some estimates suggesting they may reach ages of up to 2,000 years or even more. This incredible lifespan is supported by a deep taproot system, which anchors the plant and helps it access subterranean water sources. The slow growth and long lifespan are adaptations in response to the extreme aridity and poor soil nutrition in the Namib Desert, and are the reasons why it's one of the most successful plants there. The species has male and female flowers that grow on separate plants. The reproductive structures are cone-like, with male plants producing pollen cones and female plants producing larger seed cones. Pollination is primarily carried out by insects, particularly beetles, which are attracted to the nectar produced by the male cones. After pollination, the female cones develop seeds that are dispersed by the wind, and those seeds can remain dormant for years or even decades until conditions are just right for them to begin to grow. Number 6. The squirting cucumber. Well, the squirting cucumber is a bizarre species that's found in regions around the Mediterranean. It's a member of a family which includes cucumbers, melons, and squash, but it has a very unique way of spreading the seeds that gives it its common name. Growing on dry, rocky, and sandy soils, often alongside roads and fields and coastal areas, it's well adapted to the Mediterranean climate with the hot, dry summers and mild, wet winters. The plant is a perennial herb with rough, hairy leaves and stems, and its leaves are lobed and often heart-shaped, which is a typical appearance for a member of this cucumber family. Where it differs, though, is its explosive seed dispersal mechanism. The plant produces small, oval fruits that look like miniature cucumbers and at first are green, but turn yellowish as they mature. When fully ripe, the slightest touch triggers an unexpected reaction, whereby the fruit forcefully ejects its seeds along with a slimy liquid. This ejection can throw the seeds several feet away from the parent plant and ensure that they land in a clear area where they can begin to grow. This unique method is driven by the buildup of pressure within the fruit. As the seeds mature, the fruit produces a mucus-like liquid, and the internal pressure increases. When the fruit detaches from the stem or is disturbed, the pressure is released, causing it to burst and expel the seeds. This adaptation not only helps the plant spread its seeds over a wider area, but also reduces competition between the parent plant and the newly grown ones. Despite all its fascinating characteristics, the squirting cucumber can be invasive in some areas, outside its native range. Its ability to thrive in disturbed soils and its aggressive seed dispersal mechanism can lead to its spread in non-native habitats. The plant also contains various compounds that, while they have the potential for medicinal properties, can also be toxic in large enough quantities, meaning you're far better off with a normal cucumber than trying to eat one of these. Unless that's your thing. Number 5. The dancing plant. The dancing plant, which you may also know as the telegraph plant or semaphore plant, is a weird species that's known for its ability to quickly move its leaves in response to environmental stimuli. It's native to the tropical and subtropical regions of Asia, including India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and even parts of China, and it's closely related to beans and peas. Of course, virtually every plant is able to move in response to conditions such as reaching towards sunlight, but these changes usually happen very slowly. In the case of the dancing plant, however, they happen much faster and can happen when they're touched, when temperatures change, or follow a light source. When they move by touch, it's a process called seismonasty, and when they move by changes in light, it's something called nyctinasty. The plant's leaves are trifoliate, meaning each leaf is divided into 3 leaflets. This is to help optimize light absorption for photosynthesis and potentially deter herbivores by confusing them or appearing unappealing by imitating an animal. They function like joints and are capable of rapid changes in pressure, which is the pressure of the contents within a cell against the cell wall. When turgor pressure in these cells changes, the leaflet can move up, down, or rotate, and during the day, the leaflets move to maximize exposure to sunlight. The dancing plant responds to heat and vibrations and has actually been shown to dance more vigorously when exposed to rhythmic sound waves such as music. This behavior has become of particular interest, although the exact evolutionary advantage of this response isn't entirely clear. Cultivating it requires replicating its natural tropical environment, with plenty of sunlight, warmth, and humidity needed to support its growth and movement, and maybe even a little music. Number 4. Creosote bush. The creosote bush is a hardy evergreen shrub that grows across the landscapes of the southwestern United States and northern Mexico, being a regularly seen species in desert ecosystems like the Mojave, Sonoran, and Chihuahuan deserts, where it's had to make a series of adaptations to endure the environment. Usually growing up to 13 feet or about 4 meters tall and developing small yellow flowers during the spring, they are quite delicate when they're young, but if they survive the first 5 or 6 years, they become incredibly tough and can survive prolonged periods of drought. Clonal colonies of this species, however, can survive for thousands of years, with some of the oldest known creosote bush rings, such as the King's clone in the California Mojave Desert, thought to be nearly 11,000 years old, making them some of the oldest living organisms on Earth. There are 2 main reasons for this. The first is that they don't reproduce in the same way as most other plants and can simply send out new shoots when the conditions are right, and they also have the ability to inhibit growth of other plants in the nearby area, meaning that there's far less for them to have to compete with. During prolonged droughts, the bush can shed its leaves to further reduce water loss, entering a state of dormancy until conditions are better. The plant's roots are also crucial to its survival. They have an extensive root system that can spread to capture surface moisture from light rains and extend deep into the soil to tap into underground water. This dual root strategy allows the plant to exploit different water sources, ensuring its survival during various weather conditions. Number 3. The lobster claw. The lobster claw plant is native to the tropical regions of Central and South America and often known as the false bird of paradise because of its unique flowers that look like a lobster's claw or the beak of a bird. It's a species that thrives in the warm humid environments in countries like Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia, and it's usually found in tropical rainforests. The plant is a perennial, meaning it can live for several years, and it can reach heights of up to 6 feet or about 2 meters. Although on occasion, some species can grow much taller if conditions are just right. The plant produces long, pendulous flower spikes that themselves can grow up to 3 feet or a meter long. These spikes are made up of brightly colored bracts or modified leaves that range in color from red to pink, orange and yellow, and often with green or yellow edges. The true flowers, which are small and hidden within the bracts, are typically yellow or green. This of course looks amazing, but there's an important reason behind having an appearance like this. The vibrant color and structure of the inflorescence attract a range of pollinators, most importantly, hummingbirds. The bracts hold small amounts of nectar, which encourages the bird to visit and drink, and this gets them to transfer pollen as they move from one flower to another. In addition to its role in pollination, the lobster claw plant also provides a habitat and food for other wildlife. The dense foliage offers shelter for small animals and insects, and the plant also has adapted for dry periods by developing rhizomes or underground stems. They can store water and nutrients, helping the plant to survive and continue to provide nutrients to the animals that rely on it too. Number 2. The corpse flower. The ominously named corpse flower is undoubtedly one of the most peculiar plants in the world. Native to the rainforest of Sumatra in Indonesia, it's known for its giant size, rare blooming cycle, and its awful smell, which resembles that of rotting flesh. It's a tuberous herbaceous plant, which means that it grows from a large underground tuber. When the plant is not in bloom, it produces a single giant leaf that can grow up to 20 feet or 6 meters tall and 16 feet or 4.5 meters wide, looking more like a small tree. This leaf lasts for about a year, during which it performs photosynthesis to build up energy and reserves in the tuber underground. When it's collected enough nutrition, it's ready to grow its inflorescence, which is the largest unbranched cluster of flowers in the plant kingdom. It's made up of tall central spadix that's surrounded by a large petal-like spade. The spade is usually green on the outside and deep red on the inside, which replicates the appearance of raw meat. The structure can reach heights of up to 10 feet or 3 meters and a diameter of up to 4 feet or 1.2 meters. The corpse flowers bloom is a rare event, occurring only once every few years and lasting for just 1 or 2 days. Its cycle is unpredictable and it can take up to a decade or more for a tuber to accumulate enough energy to flower. That scent, which is made from a complex mixture of chemicals including dimethyl trisulfide and isovaleric acid, is extremely effective at attracting pollinators such as carrion beetles and flesh flies. Even though it's deeply unpleasant to be around when it flowers, the corpse flower is often grown at botanical gardens around the world and it becomes a major event when it finally does bloom. It is so unlike anything else you usually see that if you ever have the chance to see one, you should go, it's well worth it. Number 1. Lithops. When you think of a plant, there's probably a few structures or features that you'd expect to see, but some have developed a very different appearance, with the weirdest of all being a genus of succulents known as lithops. Native to the arid regions of southern Africa, including Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa, they found a way to blend in seamlessly with their rocky surroundings. They are specifically adapted to survive in areas with very little rainfall and grow in sandy, rocky soil where they're well camouflaged. Each plant is made up of a pair of fleshy, succulent leaves that are fused together, forming a shape that looks more like a small, smooth stone or pebble. The leaves are typically gray, brown, or green, with patterns and markings that mimic those of the surrounding rocks. This not only provides protection from predators but also reduces water loss by minimizing the surface area. They also have a specialized growth pattern that allows them to survive extended periods of drought. The leaves store water during dry periods and the plant relies on those reserves. In the growing season, which is the rainy season in their native habitats, lithops produce new leaves. The old leaves shrivel and die as the new pair of leaves emerge from the center, and this cycle makes sure that the plant maintains its water reserves and can continue to grow. Typically in late autumn or early winter, mature lithops produce a single daisy-like flower from the crack between the two leaves. The flowers are usually white or yellow and can be surprisingly large compared to the size of the rest of the plant. These blooms are pollinated by insects, and after pollination, the flowers develop into seed capsules. From flowers that smell like death to plants that move, trap, and disguise themselves, nature clearly has a wild imagination. And this list is only scratching the surface, because out there, in forests, deserts, and swamps, evolution is still creating things we'd never expect.